Hey, what's up? My name is Ange. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have a really gonna try to make it a non-spoiler reading vlog. In this video, I'm going to be reading my friend's favorite books, so I asked Vanessa, Cam, and Jess to give me a book, tell me what they love about it, and then I was going to read it for you and give you my review. So, I will let you know what each person chose, the order in which I'm going to kind of try and read them. When I start each book, I'll tell you what they loved about it. So starting off, Cameron chose Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I have put this book off for a really long time. How many loves do you get in a lifetime? Magnolia Parks is a beautiful, affluent, self-involved and mildly neurotic London socialite. B.J. Ballantyne is Britain's most notorious and photographed bad boy who broke her heart. But these two are meant to be, and everyone knows it. Magnolia and B.J. are written in the stars, just suspended in a strange kind of love that looks like hurting each other a lot of the time. She dates other people to keep him at bay. He sleeps with other girls to get back at her for it. But at the end of their every sad endeavor to get over one another, it's still each other they crawl back to. Finally, after years of this, their dysfunction is catching up with them, pulling at their seams and fraying the world they've built. But they're not ready to let go, not yet at least. As the cracks start to show and secrets begin to surface, Magnolia and BJ are forced to face the formidable question they've been avoiding all their lives. How many loves do you really get in a lifetime? Vanessa chose All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I read this a really long time ago, so this is the only book out of these three that I have technically read, but it's been so long that I've wanted to reread this, and now she gave me an excuse to. So, All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven says, Theodore Finch is fascinated by death. Every day he thinks of ways he might die, but every day he also searches for and manages to find something to keep him here and alive and awake. Violet Markey lives for the future, counting the days until graduation when she can escape her small Indiana town and her aching grief in the wake of her sister's death. When Finch and Violet meet on the ledge of the bell tower at school, 6 stories above the ground, it's unclear who saves whom. And when the unlikely pair teams up on a class project to discover the natural wonders of their state, they go, as Finch says, where the road takes them. The grand, the small, the bizarre, the beautiful, the ugly, the surprising, just like life. Soon it's only with Violet that Finch can be himself, a bold, funny, live-out-loud guy who's not such a freak after all. And it's only with Finch that Violet forgets to count away the days and starts living them. But as Violet's world grows, Finch's begins to shrink. This is a heart-wrenching, unflinching story of love shared, life lived, and two teens who find one another while standing on the edge. Then finally, Jess chose Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. She's been trying to get me to read this for ever. So this was the perfect excuse for me to read this book. If you don't know Twilight, where have you been? But I'll read the back anyway. About 3 things I was absolutely positive. First, Edward was a vampire. Second, there was a part of him, and I didn't know how potent that part might be that thirsted for my blood. And third, I was unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him. Now there are a ton of these, just like there's a few of these, but I held it backwards. Just like there are a ton of these, just like there are a few of these, and I think it's still going. So this is gonna open up a can of worms, and so is this one's, because once I start the first of a series, I have to know what happens. So I have 3 very drastically different books here. So I think that looking at them, I think that I'm gonna start with Magnolia Parks. Let me read to you, let me find it. Let me read to you what she loves about this book. So we're going to start again with Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. Cameron said she gave this 5 stars. She said it's the best. Simply the best book ever. Such a real, everyday monologue of 2 deep characters. BJ and Magnolia are so real, so their internal and family struggles while realizing that the relationship is toxic and will never work. I'm very excited for this. You hear so much about this, everybody loves this book, and yes, I do have the new cover. I had the original cover of Magnolia Parks, and then that was the only, original cover that I was able to get, so I ended up just rebuying so that they all match, and then I still have that other one, so. Starting with Magnolia Parks, and then I don't know which one I'm going to go to next, but we will cross that bridge when I get there. I have roughly a month that I gave myself to read all 3 of these books along with other videos and stuff like that. So I will not be reading these one after another. So I don't know which one I'm going to read next, but let's just get through Magnolia Parks first. I'm super excited for this, so let's get right into it. I've been reading Magnolia Parks. I am on chapter 8, which is only like page 67. I'm not too far into it. I texted Cameron some of the things that I thought so far. The first thing that I said was there are a lot of characters like right off the bat. I kind of feel like I jumped like right into a story, which I get is the point of this. Cameron told me that. She warned me about that. It kind of feels like you're just jumping into it. There's no like plot. It's like a character study, I believe is what she called it. I kind of love how toxic they are already. Like, I love the After series, for example, because of how toxic it is. Like, it's not good. Like, this is not a healthy relationship. But I am really enjoying how, like, terrible they are together, but the fact that they can't stay away from each other. Honestly, I kind of hate the fact that the characters are British, but I'm choosing to ignore that. Like, in my head, however they first come to mind is how they're going to stay. I also can't picture Magnolia and BJ. So, again, like, I'm picturing Chuck and Blair. When I looked up the aesthetic of this book, are they Chuck and Blair? No, not at all. But that's who first came to mind, so that's the only people that I'm picturing right now until I really get to know them. Then I think that they'll morph into somebody different in my head, but typically with me, with who I picture them as is who they typically stay as. So that's how I'm feeling right now about it. I definitely am enjoying it. So I just got home from work and I just wanted to check in and let you know what I'm thinking of Magnolia Park so far. I don't know where I was last time I spoke, but I am now on chapter 23. I was texting Cameron about it earlier. I love it. They're so toxic, but like it's so interesting to read. And I just like, I would have punched BJ in the mouth by now. Congrats to her for like not doing that. But like this, again, such a bad relationship, but wow, is it like just so interesting to read about their lives. Also, Tom England. I rest my case, Tom England. So that's all I have to really say so far. It's not a spoiler reading vlog, so I'm not going to tell you like a whole bunch, but again, Tom England. Love BJ though. Like I do, but I don't. I don't know how to like describe it. Like I'm just so angry at him, but also at the same time it's like, it's been a really long time since I talked about Magnolia Park, so I just wanted to give a really quick update. I have been reading. It has taken me a really long time to get through this book. I've just been so busy with other things. It's nothing against the book, but I wanted to just pop in an update that I am on chapter 52, page 351 of 430, so I am nearly done. I am hoping to finish this tomorrow. My thoughts so far is I like love BJ, but I hate BJ at the same time. I hate that he's doing to her like everything that he's doing to her, and then he has the audacity to get so angry and upset when she does something, even though they're not even technically together, but they're together, but they're not together. But if you ask BJ, yeah, they're together. Like that whole thing, it's so bad, but it's so interesting to read about. Like I'm very intrigued. The writing is way different than a lot of things that I've read in like a really long time, like the actual writing, but it's just so good, and it just makes you feel things so intensely. I really, really am enjoying it. I don't think that it's gonna be a 5-star read for me like it was for Cameron and like it is for so many other people, but as of right now I think I'm gonna rate it like probably like in the 4 range. It's definitely like really, really good. I just don't think that it's in the 5s for me. Again, I want to finish it tomorrow. I have less than 100 pages. I have roughly 80 pages left, and once you like really get into it, like yeah, I'll be able to finish this tomorrow, and then we will move on to the next book. But this is so good. I can't believe I put it off for so long. I am never going to recover. Orange Blossom. Orange Blossom. If you know, you know. Orange Blossom. Oh, God. What? No. So I finished Magnolia Parks by Jesse Hastings. This was Cameron's 5-star read. And if I'm gonna go back to what she said. So Cameron said that this was a 5-star read. It was the best. Simply the best book ever. Such a real, everyday monologue of two deep characters. BJ and Magnolia are so real. So their internal and family struggles while realizing that the relationship is toxic and will never work. I absolutely, I love this book. It's not a 5-star read for me. I'm gonna probably give it a 4. The writing was so different from anything that I've ever read before. But I really, really enjoyed it. I hated that I love them so much, and the feelings that they have for each other is just so insane. I have no other way to describe how toxic, but I don't know how to explain this book, because it's should I enjoy this book so much? Probably not, because their relationship is terrible. They should not be doing that. But then to find out, the thing you find out at the end, I was like, this is all going too well. The book is not going to end like this. And it didn't end good. It did not end good at all. You find out that one thing, and I'm shocked. I texted Cameron, I was like, what? It's this person? Orange Blossom. That's all I have to say is Orange Blossom. So that is it for this book. And then I don't know which book I'm going to move on to next, but when I choose that one, I will pick that up and I will show you guys. So, yes. 4 stars. I have Daisy Hates the first one, so I'm definitely going to read that soon. I have to continue on with what goes on in Magnolia Parks universe. But as of right now, this one is completed. 4 stars. I will see you with the next book. This is really awkward placement right now, but I just wanted to come and introduce the next book, which is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Neven. I have already started reading it. I think I'm only on chapter 2. Oh, there's not really chapters, but Violet, I'm only 19 pages into it. I thought that I would introduce this one really quick. So this is Vanessa's pick. So I have read this book before. I read it a really long time ago, so I know what happens. But when I was asking my friends what book is their favorite, Vanessa and I were talking about it, and I was like, every time I think of you and a book, I think of this book. There's nothing else that you can tell me to read that I would be okay with being your favorite book, because this is it. So I asked her what she thought of this. Obviously this is a 1,000,000-star rating for Vanessa. She absolutely adores this book. She said that the way that the author wrote the character Finn, she created someone that she was able to relate to, not just from his personality, but also some of the struggles that the character faced. The writing in this book, between the creativity and the adventure, is something I often find myself thinking about even 6 years later. I remember when the movie came out for this book, she was so excited. When I think of my friend Vanessa, this is the book that I think of. I I'm really happy to be rereading it for her. This has been on my bookshelf for so long. Like, I literally read it like forever and a half ago. So I'm excited to revisit Violet and Finch. I'm excited, but I'm honestly like, I'm not excited, but I am. But like, if you've read this book, you know why. So I don't think that this will be a very long read for me. I'm definitely going to try and get through this one quick. I think that it will be fast once I actually sit down and read it, but I was reading it a little bit this morning, so I am introducing this book kind of like late. We're going in timeline order, but it is what it is. And then after that, I'm going to be reading Twilight for Jess's favorite book. So let's go read. 89 pages into this book. I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, like I said in the beginning, I know what happens, but I really am loving it. It's so good. It's very quick and easy to get through. Finding time to read right now because I was in a slump and not loving anything is now my biggest problem, because I'm trying to get out of that slump by reading Ruthless Vows and now this book, but it's just finding the time to read that now is becoming the issue. But it is what it is. This video is being made and that's all that counts, so let's keep going. Pages into All the Right Places. Just, I don't know if that's a boat, if that's a plane, a car. Did you hear that? I don't know if you could hear that. If not, this is a weird clip, but whatever. Anyway, I'm 150 pages into All the Right Places. I am really loving it. Obviously, like I've said a billion times, I know exactly what happens and I know the story, so there's no big like surprises here, but it's really awesome to read it over again and see the things that maybe like glossed over when I read it the first time when I was so much younger. Like, I just understand it differently, but I have this much left of the book. It's very quick read once I sit down and like actually have time to read, because I've been in a bit of a slump lately, so like literally nothing sounds good. I don't want to read like at all, so pushing myself to read this is going back to like one that I read so long ago. I think a reread will help me pull through and get out of this, but that's kind of the only update. I love Finch, I love Violet, I love the characters, the story, amazing. Everything Vanessa said about it is so true. It's just, it's so good. I don't even know the word, like, not intoxicating, but intoxicating, like, kind of like on that level. Hearing about how Finch makes Violet feel was, like, I completely forgot about, like, the connection that they had until I'm rereading it, and it's just, like, it makes me all, like, giggly. Like, I love them. I really, really, really love these characters. We're continuing on with All the Right Places. I have roughly 100 or so pages left, so I just wanted to pick up the camera, talk for a little bit, and tell you what I'm thinking so far. I absolutely love it. I love the characters. This might be somewhat of a spoiler, so skip ahead like 15 or so seconds if you have not read this book and plan on reading it. But if not, spoiler alert, I kind of, especially this being like my second read around, you can see how like great Violet's starting to feel and how low Finch is going. Like you can just see how they were like kind of both here, and then it's kind of like just going like that, and it's so sad. Kind of also a spoiler, let me just read you this one part because I absolutely loved it. For a long time I sit in the car outside my house, afraid to break the spell. In here the air is close and Violet is close. I'm wrapped up in the day. I love the way her eyes spark when they're talking or when she's telling me something she wants me to know. The way she mouths the words to herself when she's reading and concentrating. The way she looks at me as if there's only me, as if she can see past the flesh and bone and bullshit right into me that's there, the one I don't even see myself. It's like, oh. So I only have this much left of the book. I'm gonna really try and get done with this book today. There is 378 pages. I am on 266. I think that I can get this done relatively quick. I'm gonna try and finish this because then I have to read the last book because this video is supposed to go up in like 2 weeks and I need time to edit and everything like that. So let's get reading and continue on with All the Bright Places. Nothing ever makes reading that one part any better or any easier or anything along those lines. Reading that one section on April 26th, I think it was. Kind of a spoiler if you haven't read it. I tread water on the surface under the wide open sky and the sun and all that blue, which reminds me of Theodore Finch, just like everything else reminds me of him. And I think of my own, I don't know how to say that word, Epitaph, still to be written in all the places I'll wander, no longer rooted but gold flowing. I feel 1,000 capacities spring up in me. And then it's done. Oh, this book. I can't, like, this is a 5-star book. I will not accept anything less. This is a 5-star book. That's the end of it. I was talking to Vanessa about it, like how I texted her right after I read what really happened. I don't know if I even turned the camera off when I was reading that part. If you know, you know. But I was like, knowing that it happens doesn't make it any easier. It's such a good book and it explains what these characters are going through so well. You just understand them and you love them and you just feel so deeply for them. I just think it's so good. I understand why this is one of Vanessa's favorite books, and like I said earlier on in the video, whenever we were talking about it and I was saying, hey, choose a favorite book of yours, I said to her, you can't choose any other book besides this book, because every time I think of a book being your favorite, it's this one. Now I want to go watch the movie, and I forgot that there was a movie. Vanessa says she hasn't seen it in 2 years. I remember her being so excited for it to come out. I have beef with books turning into movies because I feel like they just leave so much necessary things out. We were talking about it and she said that a lot of things that happen in the book are left out, so she feels like you can't really understand the characters as well if you're only watching the movie compared to the book. Obviously, which is what normally happens, but I am probably going to go watch the movie now because I need to see that. But I did finish this. This book was amazing. If you have not read this book, you have to go and read this book, like, right now. And then next we are going to be moving on to Twilight, which is Jess's favorite book. So I'm back where I literally always am, and wanted to intro this part of the video because I am picking up the last book for this video, which is Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. This is one of Jess's favorite books. She talks about it all the time. She has wanted me to read it for so long. So when I told her about this idea, she was like absolutely ecstatic because she was going to make me read this. Now, she sent in a video of everything that she loved about this book, so let's get into that and I'll play that for you and then we will start reading.
Hello. If you see cats around, it's because they're right next to me. Literally right next to me. The other one. I was informed to recommend a book that I love because Miss Ange is going to be reading it. And the book I chose, not surprised at all, is Twilight. I read this, I think, 3-4 years ago, and I read this whole entire thing, there's Obi, in a freaking day. This is like a almost 500-page book, and I read it in a day. And yeah, I love it. I have every single book up there, and I know it's major cringe, but that's okay because it's still phenomenal. I think it's phenomenal, and I watch the movies like religiously. There will be a Twilight marathon on very frequently in my house, and my fiance, whatever, like, he just deals with it. So I really hope she likes it and reads the whole series. So maybe I'll reread it with her. That'd be fun. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Like I said, I'm super excited to read this book, see what the hype is about. Obviously, I've seen all the movies. If you don't know what Twilight is, did you live under a rock? Edward's a vampire. The other guy is a werewolf. What is his name? Edward's a vampire, Jacob is a werewolf, and we have Bella. I love the movies. I have binge watched the movies so many times. I'm not like a diehard fan, but I really do enjoy them, so I'm super excited to be reading this. So let's get into this. Thing is about like 400 or so pages. It doesn't look like it'll take me too long. I only have about a week to finish, and then this video is supposed to go up, so I really got to get on this, but I'm getting out of my slump like I was talking about, I think about midway through this video. So this should be fun. Let's get into it and let's start reading. Oh, this is for you, Jess. This part is for you. Currently reading outside, and I forgot my camera, so this is being filmed on my phone, but it's so nice today. We're getting like a one-off day where it's super nice right before like all the weather regulates, and then it's gonna be nice every day. So I'm hanging out outside and I'm reading for a little bit, and I'm just gonna read for as long as I can and soak up all the sun. I am just about to finish Twilight. I have just the epilogue left, so I thought that we would read it together, and then I would give you my thoughts on Twilight, my rating on Twilight, and then sit down with all of the books, talk about all of the books, and go from there. So I'm in the middle of editing this video, and I'm realizing that for some reason I never filmed me talking while I was reading this book. Why did I never do that? I don't know. However, I feel like some explanation is owed. I talked about all the other books while I was reading it about like certain parts or stuff like that. So quick like rundown kind of thing that I'm just throwing in the video so that I make sure that I have me talking about it. So if this kind of seems out of place, that's because it wasn't planned and it's totally out of place. So I can see how some people will call it like cringy, like some parts were cringy, but at the same time I loved those cringy parts. I really enjoyed the writing. I felt like I could picture it. I don't know if that's because I've seen the movie before, but I just felt like I was there. I don't love the insta-lovey thing. I've said that before, but you know what, like, vampire, like, I mean, like, if it was me, and it was, like, the Vampire Diaries, if Damon, like, popped out of nowhere, like, Edward, like, if this was, okay, if I was in a situation, and I was Bella, but, like, Edward was, like, Damon from Vampire Diaries, like, I'm instantly in love, too. I'm just saying, I get the appeal. But some parts were a little cringy, but I really did enjoy it, and I think that it really pulled me out of my slump, and it was really, really enjoyable to read, and I liked the writing, and I will definitely continue with the series. So again, sorry that this is kind of out of place. Sorry it's shaky. I'm holding my phone up because it's such a process to get my camera and put it on there, and whatever. Easy way out, that's how I'm doing it right now. This is an out of place kind of clip, but you know what? We're rolling with it. Next time, I will make sure that I have my camera up, and, yeah, see you on my review for the rest of the books. Goodbye! I have officially finished reading Twilight. Obviously, like, I've seen the movies, I know what happens, so it's not really, like, a surprise for me at all. Anything that happened, I don't think that, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I don't think that the movie is all that different from the book, at least not, a lot of things weren't. So, overall, I really, really enjoyed this. If I had to rate it right this second, I think I'd probably rate it like a 4, 4.5. I really, really enjoyed it, and I think it's just because it was so easy to read, and I'm just coming out of a slump not too long ago, so having something that was easy and interesting really, really helped me. So if I had to rate it right now, I'd probably give it like 4, 4.5, but I'm going to sit on that for a little bit. It makes me want to go watch the movie. I'm definitely going to put the movie on after this while I'm editing a video. So overall, this video was so much fun to make. I have all of the books here, so as you saw, Magnolia Parks, Twilight, and All the Bright Places. I don't know if I could put these in any sort of order or anything like that to kind of end the video. Like, they're such drastic, like, different books. I mean, like, look at these 3 books. They're insanely different, every single one of them. So I can't rate, like, which one was, like, my favorite or anything like that. They were all good in their own ways. I can see why my friends love these books so much. So I'm really happy that I got a chance to read their favorite books. But now I'm on to another series. And another series, and thank you, Vanessa, this was a standalone book. They all are really, really good, and I'm glad that I got to read them. I'm glad that I got 2 books off of my physical TBR. Actually, I bought Twilight for this video, but whatever, I wanted to read it anyway, so thank you, Jess, for giving me an excuse, and thank you, Cameron, for forcing me to read Magnolia Parks that I've had on my shelf for, like, literally ever, and finally made me read it. But all around, all of these books were great. I really enjoyed it, and I loved getting, like, a little glimpse into my friends' minds on what they love to read. And you know what, it really says something about all of my friends with their favorite books, so like, I get it. That brings this video to an end. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all next time. Bye!